America sees the fame, but not the power behind it. These Nigerian wives didn't just succeed, they quietly built wealth, influence, and reach that stretches across media, business, tech, culture, and politics. From Hollywood to Wall Street, from academia to billion-dollar ideas, one woman stands above them all. So who really is the richest Nigerian wife in America, and how did she build a level of influence most people never see? Number 20. Folake Olowofoyeku.
Usually I'm back at least once or twice a year.
It helps, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
to keep grounded and recharge.
We're starting off strong with one woman who has been quietly making moves until she appeared in a sitcom that changed everything. Folake Olowofoyeku is a Nigerian-born actress, musician, and creative powerhouse with a very interesting career in the United States and beyond. As the youngest of 20 children in a distinguished family, her father was a well-known politician and lawyer, so she had access to education and exposure to the arts from a young age. Her early acting career involved stage performances and small roles in TV shows such as Law and Order, 30 Rock, Modern Family, How to Get Away with Murder, and Westworld. She also appeared in films including Death Race 2050 and did voice work in video games like Vader Immortal, a Star Wars 5R series. But the real turning point came in 2019 when Folake was cast as Abishola in the CBS sitcom Bob Hart's Abishola. This was a historic role because she became the first Nigerian to portray a Nigerian lead character on American primetime television. The show ran successfully until 2024 and ultimately made her a recognized face in households across the US. Because of her lead role earnings and growing profile, her net worth is around $3 million as she earns per episode and has had multiple endorsement deals. Today, Folake lives in Los Angeles and continues acting, creating music, and representing Nigerian culture on a global stage. Number 19. Yvonne Orji.
We don't really do conflict resolution well. We've never met a conflict we actually wanted to resolve.
You must have heard of the wealthy Yvonne Anuli Orji, a Nigerian-American actress, comedian, author, and TV host who turned her big dreams into real success. Yvonne had earned both a bachelor's degree in liberal arts and a master's in public health from George Washington University. But while she was in graduate school, she discovered her love for comedy. She performed stand-up in a beauty pageant and realized acting and comedy was her calling. After graduate school, she moved to New York City in 2009 to pursue comedy and acting. Despite having no agent and no real acting experience, she landed her breakout role in 2015 as Molly Carter on HBO's hit series Insecure, a role she played from 2016 to 2021 that made her a household name and earned her Primetime Emmy and NAACP Image Award nominations. Yvonne didn't stop there. She's also worked on her own TV series, First Gen, based on her life, which is being developed for Disney Plus with Oprah Winfrey and David Oyelowo producing. She has hosted big events like the International Emmy Awards, starred in movies, and voiced animated characters. Most recently, she signed a multi-year first-look deal with Sony Pictures Television and hosted Pop the Balloon Live on Netflix in 2025. Her net worth currently sits around $1 million, and some sources even say it stretches up to $5 million as of 2025, due to the many comedy tours, hosting gigs, endorsements, and production deals that she's nailed lately. Number 18. Kelechi Anyadiegwu. This phenomenal woman is a wealthy Nigerian-American entrepreneur best known for creating Zuva, one of the early global online marketplaces dedicated to African-inspired fashion. Kelechi Anyadiegwu was born and raised in the United States and developed a strong connection to her African roots, especially in fashion, from a young age. As a matter of fact, Kelechi's big idea came from a very simple frustration. She loved African prints and designs, but kept struggling to find stylish, ready-to-wear pieces online that reflected her culture in a modern way. So instead of waiting for someone else to solve it, she decided to do it herself. In 2013, she launched Zuva, a platform that connected designers from across the African diaspora with customers around the world, allowing them to buy unique fashion pieces with ease. This mix of fashion and tech made Zuva stand out among e-commerce sites.
$500 investment, and I was able to turn that into over $2 million.
By 2016, Zuva was already estimated to have reached about $2 million in annual sales, a remarkable achievement for a startup that began with just a small personal investment and a big vision. That level of revenue was significant and drew the attention of major media and business platforms. That year, Kelechi was named to the prestigious Forbes 30 Under 30 list in the retail and e-commerce category, placing her among the most promising young entrepreneurs globally and giving her visibility and credibility on the world stage. Over the years, she has attracted global attention, clearly shows she built real wealth creation capacity, both for herself as a founder and for the designers she helped promote. Number 17. Dr. Wendy Osefo.
Hello, BravoTV.com. I am Wendy Osefo from the Real Housewives of...
No one could possibly deny that one force to reckon with in the social space is Dr. Wendy Osefo. She is a Nigerian-American political commentator, academic, author, and TV personality who has built a diverse career by blending education, media, and public engagement. She was born in Nigeria and moved to the United States with her family when she was a child. Wendy grew up in Maryland, and she went on to earn multiple degrees and eventually a PhD in public affairs and community development from Rutgers University, where she became the first Black woman to earn that doctorate in her field. Wendy's early career was actually rooted in policy and public affairs. She worked in community engagement programs and even served in leadership roles such as Director of Family and Community Engagement for a White House anti-poverty initiative. Her academic work focuses on education, race, and public policy, and she became a professor at Johns Hopkins University's School of Education, where she taught courses on policy and equity while publishing research on social issues. In 2020, Wendy's life changed again when she joined the cast of Bravo TV's The Real Housewives of Potomac, and the show turned her into a recognizable TV personality and commentator on cultural and political issues. But beyond TV and academia, Wendy is the founder and CEO of the 1954 Equity Project, a nonprofit focused on empowering students from underrepresented backgrounds in higher education. As of now, her net worth is said to be around $1.5 million based on her TV income, speaking engagements, books, business ventures, and academic work. And in her words, she's only getting started. Number 16. Yasmin Bello Osagi. Yasmin Bello Osagi is a Nigerian-American entrepreneur best known for co-founding the influential platform She Leads Africa. She was born in Boston, Massachusetts, but grew up in Nigeria and went to boarding school in England.
Aspired to be the CEO, to be the CFO, to really be kind of taking African companies global.
Later, she studied at Princeton University, where she graduated cum laude with a degree in history and a minor in finance. She didn't stop there. She also trained at the famous Le Cordon Bleu in Paris and London before earning a joint JD/MBA from Harvard Law School and Stanford Graduate School of Business in 2019. Right after college, Yasmin worked as a business analyst at McKinsey & Company. It was there she met Afua Ose, her future co-founder. Together in 2014, they launched She Leads Africa in Lagos, Nigeria. Under Yasmin's leadership, She Leads Africa grew really fast. Within a couple of years, SLA had tens of thousands of members across Africa and beyond, hosting boot camps, festivals like Slay Festival, and workshops in cities from Lagos to Johannesburg. In 2016, SLA made history when they were invited to ring the closing bell at the New York Stock Exchange, the first African startup ever to do so, joining past guests like Nelson Mandela and Kofi Annan. While Yasmin herself keeps her personal net worth private, her family background gives you a sense of how well-resourced her world is. She is the daughter of Hakeem Bello Osagi, a Nigerian businessman who was ranked among Africa's richest people with net worth estimates in the hundreds of millions. Forbes listed him as one of Africa's richest in 2014. With that amount of generational wealth, we couldn't expect anything less from her. Number 15. Jessica O. Matthews. Jessica O. Matthews is a multi-talented Nigerian-American inventor and tech entrepreneur whose ideas have turned simple motion into practical energy solutions. She grew up in Poughkeepsie, New York. As a dual citizen of the US and Nigeria, Her parents ran a software business, and Jessica always liked science and solving problems.
So when I saw that, I was like, somebody owes me a check.
Her big breakthrough came when she was about 19 years old at Harvard University. While visiting family in Nigeria, she saw how power outages were a normal part of life. At her aunt's wedding, the electricity was cut out and noisy. Polluting diesel generators were used instead, and that experience stuck with her. Back at Harvard, Jessica and a classmate invented Socket, a soccer ball that stores kinetic energy from play and turns it into usable electricity. Just 30 minutes of play could generate enough energy for a reading light for hours. It was a brilliant blend of play and practical problem solving. Then, at 22, she founded Uncharted Play, which later became Uncharted Power, a company building technology that turns motion and infrastructure into renewable energy systems. Jessica didn't just invent things, she put business behind them. In 2016, she raised about $7 million in a Series A funding round, which at the time was the largest Series A ever raised by a Black female founder. This investment valued Uncharted Power at around $57 million and brought in big-name backers including Magic Johnson Enterprises, Disney-linked funds, and other venture investors. Jessica's awards alone reflect just how powerful she is. Fortune's Most Promising Women Entrepreneurs, Forbes 30 Under 30, Harvard Scientist of the Year, and One Young World Entrepreneur of the Year are only a few among many honors she's received. Number 14. Chini Ogwumike. Chinenye Chini Ogwumike is a popular Nigerian-American basketball star turned top sports broadcaster and media personality whose journey from the court to the studio is truly remarkable. Her wealth is also quite surprising considering how minimalistic her lifestyle is. As of 2025, her net worth was around $2.5 million thanks to her WNBA earnings, her ESPN contract, endorsements, and media work.
Today I'm gonna show you a few of my favorite things. That was one of my favorite movies growing up, Sound of Music.
Her multi-million-dollar deal likely earns her more than she ever made as a player, with regular on-air roles and annual media income in the seven-figure range. Chini was born in 1992 in Tomball, Texas, and quickly made a name for herself as a standout high school and college basketball player. She starred at Cypress Fairbanks High School, winning state championships and earning All-American honors, then went on to Stanford University, where she led the team to 3 Final Four appearances and set records for scoring and rebounding. In 2014, Chini was selected #1 overall in the WNBA draft by the Connecticut Sun. After that, she won WNBA Rookie of the Year that season and became a 2-time WNBA All-Star during her professional career with the Sun and later the Los Angeles Sparks. But Chini's success didn't stop on the court. While still playing, she built a parallel career in media. In 2018, she signed a multi-year contract with ESPN to become a full-time NBA and WNBA analyst, making her one of the youngest national sports studio analysts and one of the few professional athletes to anchor major shows while still competing. In 2020, she made history by becoming the first Black woman and first WNBA player to host a national daily sports talk radio show. She was also included in Forbes' 30 Under 30 in sports, and in 2022 was appointed by President Joe Biden to the Advisory Council on African Diaspora Engagement. In 2025, she was named the first female Basketball Africa League ambassador and has since then been using her platform to promote basketball and empower youth across Africa. If that in itself isn't wealth, then what is? Number 13. Gbemisola Abudu. Amongst influential women, Gbemisola Abudu is a real stunner. She's a Nigerian-American business leader, strategic advisor, entrepreneur, and sports executive who has built an impressive career across 3 continents: the United States, Africa, and the Middle East. She studied marketing and public relations at the University of Wyoming and went on to earn an MBA from Thunderbird School of Global Management.
They're working with us, even with our Power Forward programs, the programs through private sector.
In 2025, she also completed executive education at Harvard Business School in the business of entertainment, media, and sports. Gbemisola has more than 17 years of leadership experience working with major global companies, including Louis Vuitton, the Walt Disney Company, and the Clorox Company, early in her career. However, her career took a major turn in 2025 when she was appointed Vice President of NBA Africa and Country Head of NBA Nigeria, a newly created leadership role in the National Basketball Association's rapidly growing African division. One of her most public achievements was helping produce the 2023 NBA All-Star Game halftime show featuring Afrobeats artists Burna Boy, Tems, and Rema, bringing African culture to one of the biggest global sports stages. Abudu has also been recognized on many international lists that reflect both her influence and reach in the world of sports and business. Number 12. Ijoma Aluo. The gorgeous Ijoma Oluo is a Nigerian-American writer, speaker, and activist whose work has reshaped conversations about race, inequality, and social justice in the United States and beyond.
Also support those who are trying to bridge a lot of gaps and trying to find new ways.
She was born in Denton, Texas in 1980 and grew up partly in Seattle, Washington. Oluo earned a BA in political science from Western Washington University and began her career writing online and for publications before becoming a major voice on issues of race and identity. Her writing journey didn't start with fame. It started after the 2012 killing of Trayvon Martin, which moved her to share honest, personal essays about race on her blog and elsewhere. The big turning point was her first book, So You Want to Talk About Race, published in 2018, which became a #1 New York Times bestseller. The book answers everyday questions about race and racism with clear language and empathy, and after the global protests around the murder of George Floyd, it re-entered the bestseller lists as people around the world turned to it for guidance. She followed that success with other books like Mediocre, The Dangerous Legacy of White Male America, and Be a Revolution, How Everyday People Are Fighting Oppression and Changing the World, and How You Can Too. Beyond books, Oluo is also a high-demand speaker. She's delivered talks and workshops at over 150 colleges, universities, organizations, and businesses on topics like race, gender, and social justice. But unlike celebrity entertainers, Oluo doesn't typically disclose her finances, but inside sources say it's about $5 million as of 2025. Today, Oluo lives in Seattle with her family, continues to publish, speak, and teach, and remains one of the most influential voices in conversations about race, justice, and culture in the 21st century. Number 11. Uzo Aduba. Uzo Amaka Nwaneka. Uzo Aduba is a $3 million worth American actress best known for bringing unforgettable characters to life, especially Suzanne Crazy Eyes on Netflix's Orange is the New Black.
My character's style is, she's a birder.
From her early year, she loved the arts and studied classical voice at Boston University before fully committing to acting. But Uzo's career didn't skyrocket overnight. After college, she worked in theater, earning nominations and praise on stage in productions like Coram Boy and Godspell. She made her Broadway debut in 2007, which set the stage for bigger screens. However, her big break came in 2013 when she was cast as Suzanne Crazy Eyes Warren in Orange is the New Black. Uzo's performance was powerful, emotional, hilarious, and deeply human. She won multiple Emmys for the role, one for comedy and one for drama, which is extremely rare and puts her in a tiny group of actors who have done that for the same character. She also won several Screen Actors Guild Awards and received Golden Globe nominations. After Orange is the New Black ended, her star continued to rise. She played Shirley Chisholm in Mrs. America, earning another Emmy and Critics' Choice Award. She's also acted in films like American Pastoral, My Little Pony, the movie Miss Virginia, and more. On Broadway, she earned a Tony Award nomination for her role in Clyde's. Most recently, she starred in Netflix's 2025 series The Residents and earned an Emmy nomination for lead actress. Recently, she bought a multi-million-dollar Los Angeles home that she bought for roughly $3.1 million, showing that she's not just earning big roles, but investing in real estate. Uzo also does speaking, advocacy work, and sometimes earns money from social media, endorsements, and brand collaborations, and she sure makes money from those too. So it's no wonder that she carries herself with so much grace and power. Number 10. Toyin Kolawole. Toyin Kolawole is a Nigerian-born entrepreneur and founder of Aya Foods, a thriving food manufacturing company in the United States that's putting African ingredients and flavors on grocery shelves across America. She was born and raised in Lagos, Nigeria, where she grew up as the eldest daughter, helping her family run small businesses. From selling water and kerosene to helping her mom make pies and snacks for a little eatery, Toyin learned early that business and hard work go hand in hand.
I think for a lot of homes, particularly immigrant homes, the first daughter is like an assistant mom, so my story was no different.
After finishing her early education, Toyin moved to the U.S. and earned an MBA in Entrepreneurship and Innovation from Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University, one of the top business schools in America. Before launching her own company, she worked as a management consultant and private equity analyst, including a stint at the global firm Bain & Company. In 2015, she turned her lifelong love for food and her heritage into a business idea. Why not bring West African staples like cassava flour, plantain flour, and traditional spices into everyday American cooking? That dream became Aya Foods. Under Toyin's leadership, Aya Foods has grown from a small concept into a multi-million-dollar company. Today, it operates a 40,000 square foot production facility in Illinois, producing millions of pounds of dry baking blends and ingredients every year. According to reports, Aya Foods now generates early multi-millions in annual sales, and it wasn't until 2020 that Toyin even began paying herself a salary, a sign of how much the business has grown. Number 9. Delia Umuna. Delia Victoria Umuna is a Nigerian-born British-American legal scholar and professor of law who made history by becoming the first Nigerian appointed as a professor at Harvard Law School. She was born in London, England in 1973 to a Nigerian father and a Sierra Leonean mother, and spent her early years growing up in Nigeria before moving to the United States for university.
It's amazing what happens when you step out of Cambridge. Okay, there are good people everywhere, is basically what I'm trying to say.
However, Delia's journey to the top wasn't overnight. She earned a bachelor's degree in communications from California State University, San Bernardino, and then a law degree from George Washington University Law School, where she won the J.B. Shapiro Prize for Public Interest. Later, she also completed a master's in public administration from Harvard Kennedy School, giving her both legal skill and public policy insight. Over the years, she joined Harvard Law School's Criminal Justice Institute as a clinical instructor. She also served as deputy director of CJI, and in 2015 she was promoted to clinical professor of law, the first Nigerian to hold such a position at Harvard. By 2024, she also became director of the Criminal Justice Institute. In her roles, she teaches, mentors, and supervises students as they represent clients in real criminal and juvenile cases, even in appeals courts. Delia's focus areas include criminal law, mass incarceration, race issues, and public defense, and she's also published scholarly work connecting ideas from Nigerian community life to American justice challenges. However, being a full professor at Harvard Law School means she earns a six-figure salary, plus research stipends, speaking fees, and consulting opportunities. She's basically living large and doing what she loves as well. Number 8. Amarachi Nwosu. Amarachi Nwosu is many things: a filmmaker, visual artist, photographer, writer, producer, and creative entrepreneur whose work has taken her around the world and made her one of the most exciting storytellers of her generation. She studied international communications at Temple University, where she earned scholarships that took her to Tokyo, a city that deeply influenced her artistic voice and perspective. Amarachi is self-taught in photography and filmmaking, which means she learned her craft by doing, shooting, editing, and creating her own work rather than attending specialized art school. That drive set her apart early on. While in Tokyo, she began using her camera to explore identity, culture, and belonging, especially as a Black woman living in a place where Black people are a tiny minority. Those early experiences shaped her storytelling. In 2015, she founded Melanin Unscripted, a creative platform and media studio designed to dismantle stereotypes and blur cultural lines by telling stories about underrepresented people and cultures around the world. Her first major documentary, Black in Tokyo, premiered at the International Center of Photography Museum in New York City and also screened in Tokyo. The film explores the Black experience in Japan and has been viewed by more than 2 million people online.
You know, that just pushed me to create the spaces that I want to see. So
Amarachi has also worked with major global brands and artists, including Nike, Adidas Tokyo, Apple, Sony Music, and Johnny Walker, and photographed influential figures like Malala Yousafzai, Naomi Campbell, and Childish Gambino. In 2021, she was honored on the Forbes Africa 30 Under 30 list in the Creative Visual Arts category, and when it comes to wealth, she's in the $5 million net worth range, based on her creative business, global projects, collaborations, and brand partnerships. Number 7. Kalu Phelps. Ezinne Kalu Phelps is a Nigerian-American professional basketball player worth millions and millions of dollars, and entrepreneur whose drive, skill, and global journey in sports have made her one of Africa's most respected female athletes. She was born on June 26, 1992, in Newark, New Jersey, to Nigerian and American parents, and her love for basketball showed up early. In high school, at Science Park High School, she became the first woman in school history to surpass 2,000 career points, a record so impressive that her jersey was retired in 2017 in honor of her impact. Ezinne took her talent to Savannah State University on a full scholarship, where she continued her scoring dominance and helped her team win the MEAC championship in 2015 before graduating with a degree in African Studies. After college, she then launched a professional career across Europe and Asia, playing for clubs in Portugal, Hungary, Germany, France, Turkey, Russia, Italy, and China, showcasing her versatility and leadership on every team. What truly brought Ezinne global attention was her role with Nigeria's senior women's national basketball team, the Tigres. Since joining the team in 2016, she's been a star point guard, helping Nigeria win multiple Afrobasket championships.
I was a sophomore in college.
Right.
I had no idea I was going to go from HBCU playing representing the whole country. So it was just...
At the Paris 2024 Olympics, she captained Nigeria to a historic quarterfinal finish, becoming the first African player named to an Olympic All-Star team thanks to her leadership and scoring. Off the court, Ezinne is also an entrepreneur and founder of the We Move Foundation, a nonprofit focused on empowering youth and African athletes by improving training programs, logistics, and access to sponsorships. It just goes to show that shooting hoops isn't the only thing she's good at. Number 6. Wunmi Mosaku. Wunmi Mosaku is a Nigerian-British actress whose rise from a young immigrant in England to an international screen star worth $70 million. She was born in Zaria, Nigeria in 1986, and her family moved to Manchester, UK when she was 1. Her parents were professors back home, but in Britain they couldn't continue their careers, so her mother started a business to support the family. Young Wunmi grew up balancing two cultures, Nigerian at home, British in school, and it shaped the kind of stories she later brought to life with deep emotional truth. Wunmi didn't grow up dreaming of Hollywood fame. She loved singing and spent 11 years in the Manchester Girls' Choir. Acting became serious only when she decided to audition for the Royal Academy of Dramatic Art, a top acting school in London. Her family could only afford one shot, so that one audition mattered more than most people realize. Then, after graduating from RADA in 2007, Wunmi worked hard in the British theatre and television world. She took small roles at first, but her talent got noticed. Her breakout moment was as Joy in the BBC miniseries Moses Jones, and later she won a BAFTA TV award for Best Supporting Actress for her powerful portrayal of Gloria Taylor in Damalola, Our Loved Boy. That win alone turned heads and opened doors fast. Once she had that critical acclaim, US audiences started paying attention too. She appeared in HBO's Lovecraft Country and became more widely known. Then she landed the role of Hunter B-15 in Marvel's Loki, a major global franchise that streams on Disney+. That part, especially in the Marvel Cinematic Universe, dramatically increased her visibility and earning power.
The BBC, the late Bill Gaskell, all of whom have nurtured me in my career.
Beyond awards, Wunmi continues to choose complex characters in films like His House and Sinners, earning even more critical acclaim and industry buzz. In 2025 alone, she won the Gotham Independent Film Award and gained multiple nominations at Critics' Choice events. No doubt, she's got many more tricks to her sleeve. Number 5. Ego Nwodim. Ego Nwodem is an American comedian and actress who has quietly become one of comedy's most respected voices, especially in sketch and stand-up. She graduated from Eastern Technical High School and then earned a biology degree from the University of Southern California. Yes, she almost became a scientist.
Let me do the White House Correspondents' Dinner.
Okay. But comedy called her instead, and she began training at the Upright Citizens Brigade Theater in Los Angeles, a top improv and sketch school where many famous comedians got their start. But Ego's road to success wasn't immediate. She spent years doing improv shows, performing her one-woman show, and building a reputation in comedy clubs. Then came the big break, Saturday Night Live. In 2018, Ego joined the cast of the legendary NBC sketch comedy show as a featured player. By 2020, she was promoted to a full repertory cast member, a status that meant she was trusted with big sketches and more screen time. On SNL, she created memorable characters like Lisa from Temecula and Miss Eggy, and became known for sharp impressions and big laughs that often went viral online. After 7 seasons on SNL, Ego announced in September 2025 that she was leaving the show to explore new creative paths, including stand-up specials, podcast work, and stage shows. Her post-SNL trajectory includes headlining comedy at Lincoln Center in New York and working on independent projects that reflect her range as a performer. Ego doesn't talk publicly about money, but entertainment outlets estimate her net worth around $2 million in 2025. That figure comes mostly from her SNL salary, plus income from TV roles, stand-up gigs, voiceover work, festival appearances, and possible brand endorsements. Now, she lives comfortably and continues to grow her creative career. Not flashy wealth, but solid financial success built on talent, consistency, and smart choices. Number 4. Ayo Edebiri. Ayo Edebiri is truly one of the brightest stars in Hollywood today. She was born Funmilayo Edebiri in 1995 in Boston, Massachusetts, to a Barbadian mother and a Nigerian father. She grew up in a working-class neighborhood, performing stand-up and doing improv shows while still in school. She later studied dramatic writing at New York University, where she balanced comedy gigs with her studies before diving into a professional creative career. In the early years of her career, Ayo worked hard as a stand-up comedian and TV writer. She appeared in small roles, did writing for shows like Big Mouth and What We Do in the Shadows, and even co-created a web series called Ayo and Rachel Are Single. But everything changed big time in 2022 when Ayo was cast as Sydney Adamu in the FX comedy drama The Bear. For this role, she won a Golden Globe, a Primetime Emmy Award, and multiple Screen Actors Guild Awards. She even earned a Directors Guild of America nomination for directing an episode of The Bear, showing her talents go far beyond acting. Since The Bear, Ayo's career has exploded. She's appeared in films like Bottoms and Theater Camp, lent her voice to animated hits such as Inside Out 2, and taken roles in dramatic films like Opus and After the Hunt.
I was born and raised in Boston, which makes me the first Black woman to ever admit that.
She's also appeared on Saturday Night Live as host, one of the biggest honors for a comedian working today. So, from all the projects, streaming residuals, and deals, her net worth is said to be around $7.5 million. Number 3. Nneka Ogwumike. Nneka Ogwumike is one of the most accomplished Nigerian women in the USA, known not just for her skills on the court, but also for her leadership off it. She was born July 2, 1990 in Tomball, Texas, USA, to Nigerian-American parents. From a young age, she showed great talent in basketball, becoming a high school star, and later going on to Stanford University, where she helped lead the Cardinal to 4 NCAA Final Four appearances. After finishing college, she entered the WNBA draft in 2012 and was picked number 1 overall by the Los Angeles Sparks, putting her on a fast track to success at the professional level. Once in the WNBA, Nneka excelled. In her rookie season, she was named WNBA Rookie of the Year, and by 2016, she had become the league's most valuable player and won a WNBA championship with the Sparks that same year. She also has been recognized as one of the league's top players with multiple All-Star selections and has been named to all WNBA teams. Beyond just how wealthy she is, Nneka has stood out as a leader and role model. Since 2016, she's served as president of the WNBA Players Association, a role in which she has pushed for better pay, travel conditions, and more respect for women's sports. In 2024, she signed with the Seattle Storm, continuing her long WNBA career and proving her consistency as a star who can impact games on both ends of the court. She still racks up all-star honors and strong scoring and rebounding numbers more than a decade into her career. Like many WNBA players, Nneka's official net worth isn't published, but there are solid indications to how much wealth she's gathered over the years.
You know, as someone who has obviously a public-facing brand, I do have a social team that helps me.
Her WNBA salaries have progressively increased as she became one of the league's best players, meaning she has earned well over $1 million in total. On top of that, she has endorsement deals with big brands like Nike and Adidas, which likely adds significantly to her income each year. Combining her WNBA earnings, endorsements, and smart financial moves, her net worth is in the range of about $5 million as of 2025. Number 2. Otega Uwagba.
Hello, my name is Otega Uwagba and I am the author of the Sunday Times best-selling career guide Little Black Book.
Otega Uwagba is a British Nigerian author, journalist, speaker, and entrepreneur who has built a remarkable career without the usual Hollywood-style fame. She grew up in South London after her family moved to the UK when she was 5. She went on to study philosophy, politics, and economics at the University of Oxford, one of the world's most competitive degrees, which helped sharpen her thinking about culture, work, and society. Her early professional life was in advertising and media, including roles at Vice and the global creative agency AMV-BBDO, where she learned how brands, culture, and community intersect. In 2016, she went on to launch Women Who, a platform originally created to connect and support creative working women through online content, events, and publications. But it didn't start as a big business. Her first printed book, Little Black Book, A Toolkit for Working Women, began as a small, self-published career guide with a very limited print run, but sold out instantly. Little Black Book became a Sunday Times bestseller, was translated into 10 languages, and helped her build a global audience. She didn't stop there. Otega wrote more books, including Whites, On Race and Other Falsehoods, and We Need to Talk About Money, another Sunday Times bestseller, where she mixed both personal storytelling with cultural commentary. Her success isn't just about books. Otega is a Forbes 30 Under 30 Europe alumna, a columnist for Grazia UK, and a contributor to The Guardian, Vogue, The Gentlewoman, and other major publications. She hosts a monthly newsletter with thousands of subscribers and regularly speaks at large events and corporate keynotes, including for companies, universities, and global brands. When you consider her career, best-selling international books, paid speaking and consultancy work, podcasting and column writing, plus her property in London, one can tell that she makes a comfortable living way above average. Number 1. Nnedi Okorafor. It's no surprise that Nnedi Okorafor is the first on this list. She has proven herself over the years and has made money while at it. She is a Nigerian-American author whose imagination has reshaped modern science fiction and fantasy. She was born Nadima Nkemdili Okorafor on April 8, 1974, in Cincinnati, Ohio, to Nigerian parents.
Like, I don't think, okay, this is gonna be a science fiction story, so let me make it a science fiction story or a fantasy or whatever.
From early on, she was passionate about storytelling and literature, a love that carried her through higher education and eventually into an incredible writing career. She holds 2 master's degrees in literature and journalism and a PhD in literature. And she has also taught creative writing at universities in the US, all before becoming a full-time writer. Okorafor's first published novel, Zara the Windseeker, came out in 2005, and it immediately marked her as a unique voice in fantasy because it blended African myths and culture with imaginative storytelling. That book also won the Wole Soyinka Prize for Literature in Africa, one of the continent's most prestigious literary awards. Since then, she has written a long list of acclaimed novels, novellas, comics, and short stories, including Who Fears Death, Binti, Akata Witch, Lagoon, and Remote Control. Many of these works feature strong Black women and complex questions of identity, making her stories both entertaining and meaningful. Nettie's talent has been recognized with some of the biggest awards in science fiction and fantasy. She has won Hugo Awards, Nebula Awards, World Fantasy Awards, Locus Awards, and Lodestar Awards, and she's received critical acclaim across the literary world. Her comic work for companies like Marvel, including Black Panther, Long Live the King, Wakanda Forever, and Shuri, has expanded her audience even further. Today, several of her stories are being adapted for film and television, including an HBO adaptation of Who Fears Death and other projects in development. That kind of exposure usually means significant advances in earnings for the author. So based on her prolific publishing career, awards, royalties, and tons of deals for adaptations and comics, her net worth is far higher than she likes to admit. If stories like this inspire you, take a moment to like this video, subscribe to the channel, and turn on your notifications so you're always the first to see new uploads. There are so many powerful, untold stories still waiting to be shared. Stories of influence, resilience, and quiet impact. And we're just getting started. Stay with us, because what's coming next might be even more inspiring than what you just watched.